I've done most of the things that
Okay, well this is a pretty complex question, but is there someone that wants to start out here with a 1-minute response?
Yeah. I totally support the legalizing of marijuana smoking. To decriminalize it is really essential. I don't care how it's done. And I haven't followed the ballot measures at all. I'm going to vote for them because we just got to get it out of policing activity. It's just there's no reason for it. So, but I can't answer your specific questions. And sorry.
Chris?
I support measures H and I for the schools. I support measures S and T for the cannabis dispensaries and cultivation locations and the tax. I also support State Prop 19, which is a good combination that the city of Berkeley will be adopting policies that we can control, and the state will also be moving in a direction of tax and regulate. So it's a win-win for the patients that they'll be able to get what they need for their health, and it's a win-win for the cities and the states that there will be a degree of taxation that moves this from the underground economy into a more public process. Hopefully, if the state and the city both adopt these policies, hopefully that will set the trend to encourage the entire country to stop the insane criminalization of all these people who are literally going to jail for marijuana. And it's a gigantic waste of resources to be imprisoning and putting in jail all these people for this purpose.
Says?
Make it quick and short. Yes, I support Prop 19, legalizing marijuana, and S&T. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I really haven't studied enough of that proposition to make a public assessment of it. I know there's concerns on both sides of it, and one of the major concerns that I would have is that marijuana would be prevalent everywhere. I know this sounds funny, and for people who are allergic to smoke, and if we have issues about trying to decreasing smoking, I think there's a lot of issues to be had there too.
Okay, let's come up with another question from the audience. Gordon?
Yeah, I have a question.
And directly
the city has a no lying ordinance, but it doesn't, or sort of a no sitting ordinance. No lying, but it doesn't have a no sitting lying ordinance. In my understanding, one of the reasons the police don't enforce it is because somebody's lying on the sidewalk. They get up on their elbow and they say, "Well, I'm not lying anymore." Would the candidates favor a tough no sit lying ordinance, which would be effective?
Let's start out with Barron, and we'll just come back down this way. 1 minute.
I think it's a lot more complicated than that. I mean, basically, I think the purpose of it is to make it a favorable place to be, and I think just defining the difference between lying and sitting is not the main. I mean, the main issue. I think the main issue is figure out how to find a place that they can go that they're not basically harassing patrons, and that is a tough thing to deal with, and also do it in a compassionate way.
Seth?
It's a big, I know this is a big thing, especially on Telegraph Avenue, because the transients or homeless or people who want to encamp on Telegraph will find different ways of trying to stay there. And whatever laws you do, if it's not completely radical, they will find ways to not follow the law or whatever. The way I look at it is the same way that I said I will deal with the homeless, the addiction, the alcohol addicted people who have used Telegraph Avenue specifically as their place to hang out, and which impact the businesses and which impact the community. I said before, I want to bring in a multi-agency solution to the problem. I want really agencies to be available and could be called when such a situation is arising. I know it will be service It's going to be very service-intensive proposition. But I think that with the city, if we really want to do something about it, we really have to make it available that this is an agency that is going to try to respond to a situation arises. So if you have this person sitting on the sidewalk, yes, we call the police, but the police will not really want to do something about it. But at the same time, they call the other agencies and approach this thing and respond to this. What can we do? That's how we look at it.
Chris?
The homeless population in Berkeley has dramatically reduced, not because we passed a bunch of controversial laws to arrest them and make what they do illegal, but it's been reduced because we worked on practical solutions. We created programs. Instead of just focusing on building shelters and sticking people there for a night, we focused on how do we get people into an apartment and have people assisting them to stay in their apartment. We created model programs that were then imitated wonderfully by the state, and then the state turned around and gave us $1 million a year to fund what we had started with our own money. So do I want to, pass a law that will pretty much guarantee that at least one rabbi and one priest and probably several ministers and a whole bunch of peace activists and homeless activists and who knows who else will all come and get arrested for violating this law, and we could have a great media circus again, like we've had many times before when this has been proposed? Or would I rather stay focused on actually improving the permit process, repaving the sidewalk? I mean, instead of worrying about homeless people, whether or not they're sitting or lying on the sidewalk, why don't we make the sidewalk clean? Those green machines don't make it clean. We need to repave the sidewalk, put in pedestrian lighting like other college towns all over the country have done, and change the ambiance of the entire street, just like we did the poetry walk in downtown Berkeley. I think we should do a free speech walk on Telegraph Avenue. Totally change the ambiance, have special features along the way, and when we do that, reinstate what the positions for the vendors that have been sort of ebbing and flowing. So I am strongly opposed to wasting the taxpayers' money for a giant media spectacle when there are real practical proposals that I have put forward, that business people have put forward, neighborhood residents have put forward, and students. UC Berkeley students who are 19 and 20 years old have proposed better solutions than this.
Well, I believe that it's a multifaceted problem that has to be solved. I also have noticed that homeless and people lying down on the streets has decreased, it seems, in the last 10 years. I strongly support the ambassador program that has been around. I saw the act the other day where two individuals with the teachers came up and talked to a person. He was sitting down, but they talked to him, and they got him moved. Because I think that has to be dealt with. It's a fact of life that we have these people in our midst, and I mean, it doesn't make the place hospitable. I mean, I think that's the nature of it. It just does not make it hospitable, and it has to be dealt with. And I do believe that it's great to we have programs, but we do have to have something on the books, and I'm not sure what it is exactly. So I would support sit-lie motion ordinance that would take care of this. But I do think that it's not a policing activity. It's really a social service activity first and foremost.